The picture on CAO points for students in 2012 is not a very encouraging one, I'm afraid. 5 years ago or so we were talking about the end of the points race. This year I'm afraid we're talking about a new points race that's going to intensify and create much more competition for places. This is happening for a number of reasons, some of them new, some of them pretty well known at this stage. The main driver is the fact that demand for places is going to outstrip supply by some margin, and the capacity of colleges to actually put on more places and meet this demand is limited because they're suffering from severe funding cuts and also cuts in funding for students. So that's going to limit their capacity to actually generate more spaces. The new factor this year is the fact that about 9,000 or so maths students, those taking higher level maths, are going to get 25 additional points. So that's going to create upward pressure on a huge number of courses, particularly courses that are increasingly popular, like science and technology, and the old reliables, as it were, always the high points courses in medicine and in healthcare and in related areas. That's also going to generate more upward pressure on points. Another factor is what's happening across the water, because in England college fees are going to increase, or can increase, to upwards of £9,000 per year from next September. So there's been a 20% drop-off in the number of Irish students actually applying for colleges in England. And of course these students have to find a home somewhere, and that's going to increase demand for places in Irish colleges. On the other hand, British students now are looking enviously at the 2,250 student contribution charge in Ireland and saying that in relative terms Ireland and some very good universities in Ireland represent a very good value. So there's likely, I think, to be a marked increase in applications from British students, particularly I think for the likes of Trinity and UCD. Another factor, of course, is the bleak employment situation out there. That means that literally thousands of students who might otherwise go into employment after Leaving Cert, and thousands more who might go into apprenticeships, they've simply dried up, and really they've nowhere else to go but to college, and it's their one bet in terms of getting employment perhaps 3 or 4 years down the road. In terms of, it's hard to be specific in terms of general courses like arts, business and so on. My best guesstimate is that most points for most courses in arts and business will go up, but the really marked increase I think is going to be in science and technology. In those courses, I think the perception among students, and particularly their parents, is that science and technology really, that's where the jobs are, and that's why points in those areas are going to go up. Again, I think we're going to see points going up in the likes of agriculture. Agriculture and the whole farming sector has been doing very well despite the recession, and points have increased dramatically there. So broadly, across most sectors, points are going to go up. Again, in terms of anything to do with property, construction, the built environment and all of that, you can expect, because of the continuing downturn in the property sector, that points again are going to stabilise or even go down in those areas.